The Defense Department has a new pathway to buy software. The department says the adaptive acquisition framework gives it more flexibility in buying software. Stacy Cummings is Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Acquisition. Stacy, welcome. It's good to see you again. Your boss, Ellen Lord, calls this the most transformative change in decades in buying. Why is this such a big deal, Stacy?
Thank you, Francis, and it's great to be here again. So over the last year, we have published a series of policies that really codify a transformation to the defense acquisition system. What we're doing is we're going from a policy framework where each of our programs go through a similar process that's very milestone based, kind of a one-size-fits-all, and we're transitioning to a flexible, adaptable framework that empowers program teams to really tailor their acquisition strategy based on the unique capability that they are buying, that they are acquiring on behalf of the warfighter. Of the 6 pathways that are represented in the adaptive acquisition framework, the newest and most exciting to me is the software pathway.
How is this different than the way you described accurately, I think, the way that it's been done before? FedScoop describes it this way. Checklists and requirements were developed with senior leader approval when the DoD wanted to purchase anything. How are you getting away from that, and what does this look like at the program level? What does this look like to the vendor?
So the biggest transformation that this policy change is implementing through the adaptive acquisition framework is that we are encouraging program teams to work with their decision authority to use the flexibility of the 6 pathways, either individually or in coordination with each other, in order to develop a strategy that tailors in documentation, oversight, studies, requirements, tailors them in as opposed to tailoring them out. And what that means is that the program teams have an opportunity to really look at the unique capability they're acquiring, the risk associated with that acquisition, and they tailor in those things that are necessary, as opposed to looking at a checklist or a compliance-based program. We really want program teams to be establishing their programs based on that unique capability, working with their decision authorities to minimize unnecessary documentation and focus on those things that are most necessary to reduce risk, reduce costs, and deliver the right capability to the warfighter at the right time, and really at the speed of relevance, which is in coordination or completely in alignment with the national defense strategy.
And speed is what every leader that I've talked to over the past couple of years in the department mentions at some point. Uniformed or civilian, it doesn't matter. Is that the biggest gain here, or is there another gain that you would say is tremendously, tremendously important, Stacy?
One of the most important gains is the speed of relevance. And what we mean by that is not going fast for the sake of going quickly. We want to go as fast as it makes sense for the capability that we're acquiring, and the flexibility of the pathways, especially the pathway of the middle tier of acquisition and the software pathway, both give our program teams the opportunity to start quickly, to iterate on requirements, to iterate on prototyping and on software delivery, so that we're getting capability into the hands of the warfighter as quickly as possible to get that feedback, so we are able to make the best possible decisions with the most amount of information, as opposed to locking ourselves into strategies early in the life cycle that then have an impact on our costs, on our schedule, and our performance.
One of the places that this is already in practice is in the Air Force. They're using it in the ground-based strategic deterrence system. Is it too early to learn lessons, Stacy, or are you already seeing some lessons to take away from this?
So we've had a great partnership with Congress, and a few years ago they encouraged us to do some software acquisition pilot programs. And so we had about 24 pilot programs that we have already learned a lot of lessons from, and those lessons informed the software pathway policy, which was just signed out and published on the 2nd of October. And so we have learned a lot of lessons. Some of the most important things that we've learned are related to getting capability into the hands of the user quickly, means we need to have the ability to iterate on requirements. We need to be able to work directly with users to be able to get minimum viable products into their hands so that they can provide us with feedback. One of our other lessons learned is around not just requirements, but also funding. We have proposed a pilot to Congress in 2021, and we're hoping that they allow us to pilot this software color of money. This will give us the opportunity to truly demonstrate the value of continuous integration and continuous delivery of software based on the lessons learned that we've learned from those pilots and other programs who are implementing modern software techniques in their programs.
Stacy, about 30 seconds left. You mentioned the term minimum viable product, and I wonder if that concept culturally has been difficult for a department to adapt that's been used to waterfall for so long.
So one of the big lessons learned and partnerships that we've made is with our test community. The best way to be able to do continuous integration, continuous development is to move test, move cybersecurity, authentication, and move all of those things left in the program lifecycle. So we're partnering with our testing colleagues, and we're actually building trust into the development of software so that when we get the software complete and in the hands of the user, they can use it immediately, and it's already been tested, it's already been cybersecurity certified. And that's really what we're looking for in this software pathway.
Stacy Cummings, thanks very much for being with me today.
Thank you, Francis.